Hi and welcome to the Cult TV Sofa. This is a reaction video of the 11th episode of Season 2 of Babylon 5 called All Alone in the Night. You can now see the full reaction for this YouTube video on my Patreon channel, along with lots of other goodies. Links are in the description below. Last time we saw a surprise visit to the station from 25,000 troops on their way to assist another species in a war in return for access rights to an area of space near to the Narn and Centauri. The general leading the mission was Stephen's father, and we learned that they had a rocky relationship. The general also brought a number of weapons upgrades for the station. We met some of the soldiers as they tried to let off steam, and met some of the station crew, including Dodger, who got close to Garibaldi but not as close as she wanted, so she could experience life. Stephen and his father buried the hatchet just before the soldiers all left. But the episode ended by showing us the horrors of war, as the soldiers we met were shown having died on the battlefield. So let's see what happens in this episode. I'm going to put any relevant trivia that I find over here, and at the end of the reaction I'll be discussing what happened and my thoughts about it. And I'm going to start it in 3, 2, 1.
I've just received a message from the other members of the Grey Council. They wish to see me and discuss my status.
What is there to discuss?
A lot.
Whether I should be allowed to continue as a member of the Council.
Surprised it's taken this long.
It is possible they could remove me from Babylon 5 as well.
She's meant to be an ambassador for the Minbari.
The last two ships that came through Sector 92 both reported unusual sightings. We've also had reports of at least one transport disappearing off the screens in that area.
Can't be raiders. They're pretty much out of business these days.
I say it can't be raiders, and yeah, most of the raiders were taken out in that attack last season. But they can't be the only ones. There's going to be other, maybe not so well organised groups, maybe just one ship or something that's out there, attacking for profit. So I can't really make that assumption.
I've got a better idea.
He's going to go.
I'll go.
I don't think you should do that, sir.
This isn't a clear and present danger,
shouldn't.
Commander. It's just a quick look around to see what the problem is. Besides, if I don't put some flight time in soon, I'm going to lose my flight pay.
I was just about to say that. I know I'm quite negative about the senior command staff going on missions and going to places they shouldn't go, and I was a second ago by saying he shouldn't do it, but then I did immediately think he was actually right. This particular mission isn't a clear and present danger, it's an investigation, and he probably does need to do some flying on missions, ideally, because it's good use of his time to keep him qualified to fly the Star Furies. So on this particular one, I'm going to let him have it. You can have that one. He probably is a good idea for to go on that mission.
Very well, but you'll take a full escort.
That's good as well.
What could go wrong?
Okay, maybe I'm not just going to take it all back. Who's firing at him? Didn't recognise the ship. So it looked like they were shooting that Narn fighter apart, but it when it came apart, the cockpit seemed to be whole, and it looked like some kind of tractor beam on the cockpit. So they were taking a prisoner. So it wasn't just, I mean, obviously a fighter's not going to have anything worth taking, so they've taken the Narn. Don't know why. Maybe rather than flying on missions in the Star Fury, you should just go for a little joyride, just a few laps of the station, be on the safe side, rather than go to a mission where you can get attacked.
You do not have to go with me.
That is also correct.
But he will.
Nonetheless, I will accompany you.
Have I mentioned recently how much I appreciate you, Lanier?
Not really. But it will give us something to discuss on our trip.
He's got a lot more confidence than he was at the beginning, which is likely going to happen because he's getting to know her.
We received word from General Haig's office that he'll be arriving earlier than he had thought. If a member of the Joint Chiefs is coming aboard, I should have been informed.
This is a cordial and unofficial visit, Commander.
Even so.
Yeah, even so.
I was going to tell you all about it when he got here, but as you said, he's arriving ahead of schedule.
That's not good. The general's coming, even if it is for a personal matter. The general's coming. Sheridan said he was going to tell Ivanova when he arrived. Well, that's a little bit late. I mean, give her a heads up beforehand. At the very least, she needs to know for logistics of getting ships in and out in a timely manner. That seems to be her responsibility. So that's a bit off. You can easily have said, look, General Haig's coming, but it's for a personal matter. Job done. Leave it at that. Why has he got that look?
Martian gravity is 40% less than Earth normal, all right? The ball travels faster and further, skewing the results. Now, once they hit Earth gravity, Helen Keller could bat better than anyone.
To be fair, that is ridiculous. A team that live and play on Mars, going to Earth to play a sport, that's completely different. Yeah, they could be number one on Mars, but then go to a different gravity on Earth. 40%? I mean, that's just ridiculous. You wouldn't put those two teams together. That makes no sense whatsoever.
30 credits says Mars gets swept. 4-zip.
Okay, I'm still trying to understand the money system. So he said 30 credits on a bet, which isn't going to be a small bet, I wouldn't have thought. It's going to be a... well, so 30 credits is how much the Ivanova and Sheridan's rooms were going to go up by per week a few episodes ago. So that was 120 credits-ish a month. So if he's betting 30 credits, I mean, off the top of my head, the way they were kind of talking and stuff, that kind of feels like, I'll do it an American, maybe what, $100? That would sound like a reasonable bet for the way they were behaving and stuff, and the way they sort of said 30 credits. So that's the figure I'm kind of thinking. Anything less wouldn't be worth the bet. I'm going to try and keep track of when they talk about money to try and work things out a bit more.
We're gonna have a great dinner on your 30 credits, Doc.
Yeah, dream on.
Okay, actually, yeah, great dinner. Still could be $100. Could be 50.
Your escort. Check.
To be honest, go to McDonald's, could be a tenner.
Ready for launch.
Happy hunting.
I do like the way they drop down, but it's never really shown how they get back up. They always come back into the docking bay. How do they get into position to fix like that to drop down?
Wow, this is more like it.
If you continue in this behavior, you'll just make the other pilots feel inadequate.
That would be cool. Plus, it's showing off the flight physics again, which wasn't really shown in any other sci-fi show at the time, and even mostly now. That they don't fly like planes, zigging, zagging around in an atmosphere. He was flying straight, and he spun round to look at the station, but he still kept going on the original trajectory, which is really cool that they work like that. But yeah, it must be cool to fly one of those and look at the station and stuff. So this is where the Grey Council are.
Until later, Satai Delenn.
So that's her formal Grey Council title. He did that on purpose to show how much he believed that she should still be on the council. That was nice. Bit of a confidence boost to her.
You want us to make another pass, Captain?
No, I guess not. There's nothing much to see.
Wait for it. So it's a ship with its own jump engine. That's the same ship as earlier.
Engines at critical. Ejecting!
I have to admit, their cockpits, the design of the Starview is really good. Having this sort of, I mean, basically it's all an engine, except for that cockpit bit, which they can eject in emergencies. They are really well designed. It's cool to see when the cockpit comes off like that. I'm not going to be able to win against that. Weird design ship. Okay, so taking him as well.
Captain!
I've never understood the colour when the jump gates open. It's blue. It's blue or yellow. It seems to be blue when they emerge and yellow when they go into hyperspace. I don't understand why there's a colour difference. I'm assuming they've done it for us, so we know that it's opening one way or the other. I can't think of a logical reason why there would be a different colour technically or physics-wise. Any ideas? Let me know in the comments below, because I've never quite got that. So he's the last one.
Detecting leak in fusion reactor system.
Oh,
How bad?
good news?
Radiation levels 35% beyond safe limits.
Ah.
How long until the radiation reaches terminal levels?
Radiation
Couple of
rate
hours?
already at terminal level.
So he's already dead.
We have to head back. Tell him what happened. It's the captain's only chance. Redirect maximum possible energy from life support to system controls.
He's already dead, so he's taken life support away to get back. That's a horrible decision to make, but his choices were to stay there, keep life support going, and die soon, with probably very low to no chance of anyone finding him, so he could verbally tell them what happened before he dies, because he's going to die whatever, or to divert everything to the engines to get back to Babylon 5 to tell them what happened to try and save the captain. That's a well, he obviously did make the right choice, but that's a tough choice to do. Poor guy. Knowing that you're dead, but you're still alive.
General, welcome to Babylon 5.
Commander, if he knew when I was arriving, he'd have been here. I hope it isn't serious.
Her hair is very long and sort of spread out. I would have thought that would be non-regulation. I'd have thought she'd had to have it in a ponytail. I know in other episodes we've seen it in a ponytail, but I think recently I've seen she's had it more open. I was surprised she'd be allowed to have it like that, especially with a general. Well, they're oxygen breathers, whoever the aliens are, because he can breathe.
Earth Force.
Oh, that doesn't look good. Ugh.
They will not come, Delenn.
But I was summoned.
You were told to wait before taking this action. If you are no longer one of us, how can you be one of the 9?
If any of you follow my Buffy the Vampire Slayer reactions as well, the actor who is playing that Minbari is Robin Sachs, who played Ethan Rayne, sort of Giles's friend, in a few episodes now. So he does look quite different with the makeup on.
From this day forth, you are no longer a member of the Grey Council.
That was inevitable.
What about my appointment to Babylon 5? My position as ambassador is separate from my role as Satai. Who was chosen to replace me?
I will convene the 9.
He didn't want to answer that question.
Jump gate activated. One ship.
Is he going to be already dead?
Scanners indicate she's on autopilot. Minimal life signs.
Still just alive. Is that a Drazi?
place.
Lose your car! That's what's making you do this, isn't it?
So they're experimenting.
Why are they doing this? Dustman!
Well, you know some of the language. So they seem to have captured different species and they're making them fight each other. It looks like some sort of experimentation. Test species strengths and weaknesses. So I assume this ship is one of the, can't remember how it was worded, but one of the partners, or the envoy of the shadows that we've been seeing. It's a bit unfair. He's got a blade and he's only got a pipe. He's trying to hit that thing on his head.
Shadrach! Kill me!
He's still alive.
How many more are there though?
We finished going over the data record from his Star Fury. It looks like an alien ship took the captain.
Meaning we don't know where it came from or where it's going.
How did the General get there? We didn't see any big ships. I think it was just a shuttle he came in on, which is a bit weird. You'd think he'd have travelled on a... Well, I'd have thought as a General he'd have his own ship, a big cruiser or something at his command. I know he's trying to keep low key, but it's probably not a good idea for a General to be travelling, especially in uniform, in in the low key capacity. He's a prime target to be taken by someone otherwise. But they could have used a ship, a big decent ship, to go out and look for the captain at this stage. Not that they know where to look though. Well, although I'd start in that sector they went to because that's where everything's been happening. So.
No longer allow ourselves to be separated by names and borders. Our two sides must unite or be destroyed.
Just talking about Earth and the humans and Minbari.
I am more than happy to have you remain with the humans.
You are the one chosen to replace me. Nehru.
That's the Minbari we saw when they took the body of the Minbari leader, and he got took the body and disposed of him the way that the leader wanted, rather than the way that the other Minbari wanted.
When Valen called the Nine together, he chose 3 from the worker caste, 3 from the religious caste, and 3 from the warrior caste.
So
my
balance.
replacement should have been from the religious caste. 4 from the warrior caste gives them unprecedented power.
You say prophecy tells us a great war is coming. Should not the warrior caste lead against it?
Throw it back at her.
You are an affront to the purity of our race.
That was a bit Nazi, talking about the purity of the race. That's not a good sign.
Now the perfect liaison between us and the Earthers. You have no home with either of us.
Well, no, she lives between the two.
Be our go-between. Return to Babylon 5. And stay there.
So they see Babylon 5 as a punishment, not as a tool to help them. He's taking it off, that device off his head.
Looks like I broke a couple of your ribs when I put you down. I think one may have punctured your lung.
So he seems to know about Narn physiology as well.
What they want from us?
Scout for invasion. Experiment. Evaluate potential targets.
Analyze us.
Makes sense. Something I thought about, I hadn't thought about before. They're all speaking English. John spoke... I've completely forgotten the name of the species a minute ago. He spoke a different language to that alien a minute ago. So it is like they are all speaking English, and on the station they speak English. Now in Star Trek they get away with it. I apologise to talk about Star Trek, but they get away with it by everyone having a universal translator. So they're all speaking their normal language, and everyone just hears English, and we hear English. So they easily explain that away. There's the links, but only the command staff have the links, not everyone else. So that doesn't explain it. Yeah, they haven't explained how. I can't believe that all the aliens are speaking English. They must be speaking their language, and they just conveniently don't bring it up to avoid discussing it, I think. Let me know what you think about that one as well. I think that's just a convenient way around the problem by ignoring it.
A big research system, picking up samples, deciding who's a good prospect for invasion.
In a bad way, it's a good way of doing it.
Our ships probably give them a good idea of our level of technology. I wonder what they're looking for now. Our resourcefulness?
Tactics, and there's a lot to learn by watching people in captivity. Like I said, it is horrible, but with so many different alien species around, if you are a warlike race who want to colonize everyone and attack people and expand, it is a good way of doing it. Going out, picking off individual ships from different species, and then studying the technology, studying how they fight, how they react to different things, because they can learn an awful lot from doing that. So, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Let's say, it's a good thing to do, though. No.
Only Delenn from now on.
Yeah.
The Grey Council feels that I can best serve our people by staying on Babylon 5. Ooh. They feel very positively about it.
Oh, what's a bit of a twist of what happened?
You do not have to go back with me, Lanier.
Now, did she say that to keep face, or did she say that to not bring down Lanier's opinion of the Grey Council? I think that's the reason. Lanier is such a by-the-book kind of guy. She didn't want to spoil his image of the council, so she said that to keep their image untarnished in his mind. Tough thing to do.
You could go home. You could be free of all this. Return to your studies, to your family.
I want him to be linked to her, because that could only bring him down.
I remember when you first came to me. You would not look up.
Like I said, he was very timid.
Every time it stops to grab another ship, we gain more time to catch up to it before it can get back to its homeworld. On the theory that we may need added firepower, I've placed a few calls of my own.
Jump gate activated.
Right. So he's some big guns. Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't arrive.
Captain's old
ship.
Why are you here? We were never away. You have always been here.
Well, that wasn't cryptic at all. So I'm assuming that wasn't a dream, and it was Kosh telepathically communicating with him.
Give me a lever big enough and I will move the world.
I would have thought that sword will break.
Ambassador, what have you got?
The ship which has taken Captain Sheridan is known to us. They're called the Stribes. The last expedition was into Minbari space. We tracked them back to their homeworld and made sure they understood the depth of their mistake.
Can you give us the coordinates for their homeworld?
Of course.
Considering that she's religious caste and she was against the warrior caste having control of the Grey Council, she does speak like a warrior every now and again, doesn't she? Then followed them back to the homeworld and made sure they understood the depth of their mistake. I can't remember the exact word in, but the way she said it with they made them pay, basically. That sword would break. Is this part of the experiment? Trying to let them escape? Homeworld by the looks of it. Agamemnon. Yep. And Delenn and fighters by the looks of it.
They're probably redirecting power to the engines. They'll also be distracted. This is our chance.
Yeah, it is your only chance.
This is Ambassador Delenn of the Minbari. If you remember our last confrontation, you will release your prisoners at once.
I was gonna say it's ridiculous that they'd let the ambassador go with them on an assault like this, but she saying that does give them actually a lot of power, even though her ship hasn't got much, if any, firepower. It's probably got a little bit. Her words will have power because they will remember what the Minbari did, whatever they did to them. So,
You go. Leave me.
yeah, he's not going to do that. He's not that kind of guy.
What is that? Survival pod.
So soon they've opened up all escape pods because they're severely damaged.
They've spaced the captives.
Wow. There were a lot more captives on board, so they ejected them all into space. They didn't even use them as leverage to escape. They just vindictive and spiteful and just killed them all. Yeah, it's not a great species to get to know, is it?
One of them's making a break for it.
Moving in on attack vector.
3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots.
SOS.
It's the captain!
You have always been here.
No idea what that means, though. Yeah, so why is he there? Anti-snoop device?
What have you found out?
They're all loyal to Earth, if that's what you mean. Ivanova, Garibaldi, they're good people, General.
Not a spy. More like a trapdoor spider.
Like an internal affairs investigation.
Santiago understood the importance of Babylon 5. He knew that if anything happened to him, President Clark would appoint some hard-nosed jarhead to run this place.
Oh, the way he said President Clark. So, looks like he doesn't have any love for the president. And the way he said that President Santiago knew that Babylon 5 was important means that, well, they think it's important. And it looks like John was sent there to check that everyone's okay on the station, basically. That there's none of President Clark's lackeys, for want of a better way of putting it, like Psychor, although I suspect that Clark is Psychor's lackey, not the other way around. But
if Clark and his friends think you're one of them, they'll leave you alone, which is what we need. Not everyone back home buys the party line that Santiago's death was an accident.
Yeah, I don't.
If Santiago's death was an assassination, we're talking about a military coup here.
Not entirely, but they're not the ones calling the shots.
It's Psychor, isn't it?
Points to that.
Babylon 5, on the other hand, has military, intelligence, and civilian sources to draw upon.
And upgraded weapons now.
You believe as I do that when we put on this uniform, we took a solemn vow to protect Earth against threats from outside and from within.
Foreign and domestic.
Your cooperation is essential if we're going to take back our government.
It sounds like they're the ones planning the coup.
I need your answer, Captain. And I need it now.
No. What would happen then? I mean, I'm assuming his answer is yes. Of course, he'll carry on. But what if he said no? That would be awkward, wouldn't it? If he stood there going, "Oh, didn't you say that? Oh, okay. Well, gotta get. You're out. Somebody else is in." So he's called them all together to talk to them.
Something unpleasant's been going on back home. You know it, and I know it. We've stood by too long. That's going to change. Anybody wants to leave now before you hear anything you'll have to report, do so.
It's already a little bit too late from what he said so far.
I'm in. Ditto.
Hey, I never did know when to butt out. We're with you, Captain.
So, you got the three of them there. They haven't known him... okay. I'll say they haven't known him that long. I'll make some caveats in a second. Except for Susan. Susan's known him for longer. She knew him before. She was under his command before. So, from what she knew of him, from what she's seen, yes, she's going to trust him, so I can see she'd go along with it. Garibaldi, I think he does now trust him, Sheridan. I think he, if you remember when he was recovering from that wound, he had the gun, and he almost looked like he was going to shoot himself, Garibaldi. But Sheridan came in, started talking to him, put the gun away, but didn't say anything about it. I think there is there was a respect there fairly early, and from what he's seen, he's trusting him, and he also knows that there's stuff going on from Sinclair. I really hate saying both their names because it just confuses the hell out of me. So Sinclair's video message last time said there's stuff going on, so he's already going to have things going on. Garibaldi would already have things going on in his head about there being problems and things, so he was the first one to say, yep, I'm in. And then Franklin, he did the railroad, and the captain hasn't dobbed him in for that. He supported him, so obviously he trusts him as well. So there is the stories we've seen so far have built towards them trusting him when he reveals this, which is clever. Off the top of my head, those are the reasons I can think of that they built up that trust. Yeah, it was a good episode. Part of me doesn't think that Sheridan would do that. I don't know, the spying part, I know it's for the greater good, and as the General Haig said, he's a patriot, so he would do it for all the right reasons, but I don't know, it just seems to go against his personality, I'd have thought, to do that from what I've seen, but here we are. Yeah. So that alien species who was taking the captives, there didn't seem to be a link with the Shadows. They were just a species who expand by capturing and taking over planets based on their experimentation. That's pretty horrible. You would have thought, I don't know what they could do, but all of the species would, I'm not saying to attack them, but certainly come together to put, don't know, I don't know what they could do. Blockade their home world to force them into negotiations and talks to stop them from doing this kind of thing. I don't know, because I assume they're not part of the official. They haven't got official representation with the other species, I'd have thought, so they can't do it through diplomatic channels, normal diplomatic channels. But yeah, that's pretty horrible, but it does make sense. So yeah, good episode. Let me know what you thought about this one in the comments below, and I shall see you for the next one. Be seeing you.